Standing here with Bryan Barczyk from SnakebytesTV. You guys who watch YouTube videos will know this guy. He is like the Dave Palumbo of the reptile world. I promise you that.
Hey, Bryan from Snakebytes here. Today, we make a deal with the devil. You're watching Snakebytes.
Great meeting you.
It's awesome meeting you too. Hey, you're in my world now. What do you think about these reptiles, huh?
I love it. You know, I sense your passion when you talk about them on the air. You get people excited. I get excited about it, and then I get my people excited about it, and I try to do the same thing for the bodybuilding industry. You know, you could just tell that you love what you do.
Yeah, I tell you, since I was a kid, I've told this story many times. My first memory as a kid ever, when I was 2 years old, was of a snake at a zoo.
That's
not
so
my
weird.
mom, not my dad, not my siblings, a snake.
And how old were you?
I was 2 years old, and I tell you what, I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember the snake, the cage, everything about it. So I've been so passionate about these animals ever since I can remember.
Now, we all know that reptiles are an addiction, just like tattoos are. I know that's your newest, and working out now, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, hey, guys like you are inspiring me to hopefully better my body. But yeah, you're right. Reptiles are an addiction. I always say it's like a potato chip. You can't get one.
Right,
you know what I mean? Just like.
What was the first snake you had?
You know, this is crazy. I begged my mom till I was 15 years to have a snake. Every summer, I would go out and collect garter snakes and have to keep them in the garage because I could not bring them in the house. And finally, when I was 15 years old, believe it or not, she said, "All right, for your birthday, you can have a snake." And I bought a Burmese python. Now these are the monsters. They get 18 foot long, and she let me buy a Burmese python.
She didn't know, obviously.
I don't think I knew. I just wanted a snake. And what happened was I went to a pet shop, and I knew I was going to buy a snake, and that was the only snake they had for. And I wasn't leaving without a snake.
No, you had to have something.
Yeah, and so I was like, I didn't even know how big it got, and then I got it, and I started reading. I'm like, which by the way, I always tell people, please do your research before you buy snakes.
Right,
don't be like me and buy a Burmese python for your first snake.
How big did that snake wind up getting?
It got over 18 foot.
Oh, really? What did your mom think when it was getting crazy?
Well, what's funny is by the time I moved out of my house, and by the way, reptiles actually paid for my first house when I was 20 years old.
Really?
So,
what were you selling that made you money?
well, albino Burmese pythons, ironically enough, at the time were going for like $1,000 a piece, and these are animals that have 40 to 60 eggs, right? So I was making tons of money, great money on my mom's basement. I was going to college, and I was making more money, and I was like, I'm just going to do what I love. But at that point, when I moved out, my mom's basement, I had 50 Burmese pythons that were like
50
Burmese pythons that were all like 15 foot plus, and then I had a couple hundred other snakes, and she wouldn't even go in the basement.
I don't blame it. Do you still have any of those now in your facility in Detroit?
I do, actually. I have a girl named Satan who's big.
That's one of the originals?
That's one of the originals, and then of course now I have Sunshine. She's not one of the originals, but she's been around for 6 or 7 years. That's a big girl. So yeah, I have a handful of the original animals, and they're amazing.
Did you ever think, because you were such a snake guy, that you'd start getting into other reptiles? Like I noticed now you have geckos and you have bearded dragons.
You know, it's funny. Legged things have become a passion of mine all of a sudden. I still love the snakes. Snakes are always going to be my thing. But yeah, I mean, blue-tongued skinks. I'm a nut about blue-tongued skinks now. Leopard geckos. Yeah, for some reason, monitors. I mean, everything that basically has legs, it seems to really be pushing me in that direction.
Because of the addiction, like I don't have it, I got to have it now.
Well, I always say when people say, what don't you have? And I always say, like, I want it all. I mean, it's like, what do I want? I want everything I don't have. And
yeah, me too.
But within reason. It's not like I'm collecting these like baseball cards. I mean, each of these animals is a life, and I respect that life so much. So, but I guess the lizards have a little bit more personality. So I've been having a great time interacting with them. Whereas a snake, I mean, I still think they have somewhat of a personality, but a snake is a snake. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Lizards, they actually do have personality, so you can get to interact with them a little more.
I'll put you on the spot. Last question. Favorite reptile of all time?
Well, I have to answer it this way. Are you a parent?
No, not yet.
Okay, so if you had 3 kids, what would be your favorite kid?
The one that's here?
Okay, so I can't. I love them all. I can never pick a favorite. These are all my babies. I can't pick a favorite.
Thanks so much, Bryan.
Hey, thanks.
Bryan Barczyk, SnakebytesTV. Catch him on YouTube, one of the most popular reptile channels. For now, Dave Palumbo, rxmuscle.com.